your official podcast. It's all about you, girl. Here we are in episode 4 of our 2023 series. Thank you to each and every single one of you that has been tuning in. We see your tags. We absolutely love to hear your feedback as you have been empowering yourself week by week through this podcast. Today we have somebody special in our podcast room all the way from Brownsville, Texas, Miss Melva Acero. Welcome. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm super excited. I'm just like, I got the invitation, and let me just tell you that I'm super honored to be here. You know that I admire you so much, so I'm just thrilled to be able to share a little part of me.
Yes, Melva. And so episode 4 is called Passing the Mic. You are your only competition. We're going to talk, I think, about both, right? Passing the mic and about being your own competition. But before we get into it, Melva, why don't you share with us your Team Beauty story? You know, how did you come in here? What was it that made you say yes? And then we'll go right into our topic.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm excited to share a little bit of my journey. I got started over 6 years ago, and I started because, let me just kind of regress into before I got started.
I would love that.
Yes. Me, Melva, back then, I was trying a lot of different things. You know, I wanted to get into a healthier lifestyle, and I had tried the craziest things, but one thing that I was lacking was a support system. And I didn't really understand that. So when I got started, I was already looking for that guidance. I needed that women empowerment, even though I didn't even know what women empowerment was. Like, I just, you know, when I came across it, I remember that I walked in, and that's how I met, you know, Jessica. And she told me a little bit about the concept and everything. And it was something that I'm gonna give y'all a picture of who Melva was before, just so you can visualize that. You know, I used to be an ultra goth girl. Okay, so I was always dressed in black, and you know, black on black, black lipstick, black eyeshadow, black everything. And I had been that Melva since I was like 11 years old. So all these years, and when I came across this, I was already 33 years old. So my lifestyle was very different. My mindset was different. The environment I was in was very different. So to me, you know, to walk into a place where there's like pink everything, it was like, what am I doing here? I had no idea how bad I needed pink in my life, honestly, because, you know, I was just, you know, going to work, and I would just, you know, be in my room and watch crime TV all day. And that was who Melva was, you know, the things that I was feeding in my mind, which is the TV, the music, everything. I was just so into me that I wasn't allowing like people in my life, because I just needed that space for me. So when Team Beauty came about, like, it was like the total opposite, you know, like we're women empowering each other, and we're in a support system. So it was just so new, but for some reason, there was something in me that said, I want to give this a try, you know, even though it was unknown. And that's how my journey started. And I remember that the reason why I decided to stay in when I thought this is so different than what's out there, because I already tried so different places, was that first pink day. You know, today's pink day. And, you know, I remember walking in, and one thing is that one of the coaches told me, like, today we wear pink. And I'm like wearing black, and I had no pink whatsoever in my closet. So I went and I ran to like this local store, and I bought pink. Like, I bought a pink fitness workout outfit. And I showed up, and that was like my first pink ever in my closet, and I was excited. So then I was like, okay, I guess they're telling me to wear pink. I'm going to try it, okay? And it was amazing. It was the first experience I ever had. I remember that, you know, the girls, the way they were treating themselves, and even me, you know, because I was so used to being so shut down and not being open to meeting new people. But even because I used to be all dressed in black, you know, I would go to the streets, people talk about, you know, she looks like a creep, or like, look at her, you know, she looks kind of like she must be like a criminal or something. So I was already used to that. So whenever I walked into this environment of positivity, and the girls were like, hey girl, come sit down with me? And I was like, what is this? Like, it was just so weird for me. So then I remember that we sat down in a circle and the girls started sharing a little bit about themselves, about their healthy lifestyle journey, how they felt. And I even saw some women that were crying. And there was like this moment where I looked around, in the circle, and I was like expecting women, or I was expecting them to be like, like kind of like, gossiping about like, look at her, she's crying or whatever. Mm-hmm. And no, I saw everybody was in the same like vibe. Everybody, it was like a little circle, like a little pink bubble, mm-hmm. in which I felt like I was in a safe space because I saw no judgment there. They were sharing, being vulnerable. And I thought to myself, wow, this is something very special. Like, this is something that I would like to pursue on. And that's how that's the moment where I fell with love with Team Beauty. I was like, okay, I need this in my life. And yes, I started changing my lifestyle, but also my mindset, because I started being around women that were lifting me up, women that were, that were always there to push me, to tell me, the things that I needed to hear to grow. Mm-hmm. And, 6 years later, like it just developed into what it is now, to be able to have a business in which I get to share that to other women as well.
Wow, Melva. I mean, your story is very inspiring and very impactful. And, as you were talking, I'm sure if you're driving or listening from wherever you are, this question might have popped up in your mind. And I have to ask you, like, why? Why were you in the state of, like, just because you said it out of your mouth, right? Like being a goth or wearing all black, like mm-hmm. what put you there?
I think I was already tired of, like, I was already coming into this point in my life where I was like, is this it? Like, am I just going to go work at a typical job and eat whatever and just go home and watch Netflix mm-hmm. and then go back to work the next day? Like that was already a routine that I was living. And I needed that, something different. I needed to be open. Like I felt like if I needed to change my lifestyle, I needed to change also the people I was around, because I'm not saying anything bad about those people if you're going to be listening to this, but it's just a different mindset. We were younger, and I'm going to say this. I'm sorry to say this, but they're still in
it's your life.
Yeah, it's still, they're still in the same, stage, right? And I wanted to get out of that stage of my life where I felt like, okay, I'm ready to build something, not only, financially, but also with my health, because I wasn't feeling good. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea how bad I was feeling, until I started changing my lifestyle. That's when I understood, like, man, like I really needed this. And I knew that if I wanted that difference in my life, I needed to change my environment. I needed to change the women I was around, because they just had different goals. Everybody over here, they're all trying to work on themselves, try to become the best version of themselves. And that's what I was looking for as well.
Awesome, Melva. And so let's dive in right into passing the mic. When I hear this, right, passing the mic, it's definitely something that vibrates inside of me, like, you have to be heard, right? Yes. And so it's kind of like so many times we can feel that people don't understand us. We can feel that people don't hear us, that people don't see us. And so as we talk about this topic, passing the mic, what does that mean for you?
To me, like when I hear that, I always think about like in a literal sense, like that's me like grabbing the mic and giving to you, like sharing possibly the spotlight to someone and giving another woman, that space in which you can hype her up and see like, go, like you do it, like mm-hmm. you, and I'm here with you. That's what I think about whenever you're saying that quote. And I feel that, before I didn't have that, like it was something, and I know we were talking about this earlier today, and I was saying how, when I started this journey, I lost a lot of friendships or friends, right? Mm-hmm. Like I lost a lot of people in my life that I thought were my friends, because when I changed my lifestyle, like they questioned it. And they were like, what is she doing? And to me, it was really, really difficult for me to understand, because I was like, how come they're not as supportive when, I'm starting this new thing that is giving my body, I'm feeling so much better about myself than before, that I was maybe, eating different, or maybe partying, or whatever it is that we were up to. So then I got a lot of friends that deleted me on Facebook, and I was like so disappointed. But then I realized that
to that extreme.
Yes, I had so many, like, I just what has she been up to? And then I would go into their profile, and it's like, add friend. I'm like, what happened? But I know that, in a way, I don't want to get too, spiritual, but I believe in God, and I do understand that God was creating a space for different people to come into my life that were going the same path that I wanted to go to, and it started with that, and to be able to be around women like you, for example, that you love to pass a mic. You're always, go. And that's something that I saw here that I wasn't able to get anywhere else.
Let's talk about our beauties, our customers, our new listeners, right? They might just be starting in their journey, or have just decided, like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, or I'm going to launch my business. I'm going to start working out, whatever that means. And so how can you pass the mic to them? What can you tell them today on some actions, right, that they could do where they don't become disappointed so quickly, right? So many times we feel that success is right around the corner, right? And we're so motivated and we're so excited. Like, how can you pass the mic over to them and share with them how they should compete only with themselves, right? Like, what does that journey look like?
Yes. Well, one thing that I am going to say is that comparison is the thief of joy. That's like the first thing. That's a quote, and I took it to heart, because it is, if you're trying to compare your day 1 to someone else's chapter 12, you're going to get discouraged. And I remember when I started, like, I would see, let's talk about health-wise. I would see girls with, like, fit bodies and, or J-Lo. I would look at her. I'm like, I want to look like her, but it wasn't really like I wanted to specifically look like her. It was an inspiration, but I would get frustrated because I wouldn't look like her in a week, So then it's something. So obviously, it took a process.
One day in, and we already have very high expectations.
Yes. And it's something that I feel a lot of people, like, they do that, especially in the beginning of their journey, that they expect to be at a different level than the other person that they're looking at. And it's like, just understanding that there's a process and you have to enjoy the journey. If you're always having this expectation of where you want to be, and that, like, let me just, like, kind of like, change it a little bit, in the sense that, I don't know if you heard about that, happiness is the path and not the destination. And I've always understood that to be true, because, sometimes we're always putting deadlines to our happiness, like, oh, whenever I look this way, I'm going to be happy. When I have a kid, I'm going to be happy. When I reach this level in my business, I'm going to be happy. And there's always this, this process of you not being happy in the process. You're just kind of like, oh, I'm not there yet. So then that magic of the whole journey of what it's supposed to be, like, it fades away. You get discouraged and you're like, this is not for me. No, it doesn't mean that it's not for you. The only difference is that you, in the sense that you're comparing yourself with someone else, the only difference between that person and you is that they didn't give up. They kept going no matter what, through the process, no matter the time, showing up, no matter what, no matter how they felt. And that is what's going to define you and determine your success as well.
Yes, I love that. And, inside of the journey, Melva, it's truly being able to accept that identity, right? Like, who are we becoming? I think we've been talking about that these whole weeks, right? Mel talked about it, Valeria's talking about it, you're talking about it, Kim talked about it. And so it's definitely a theme inside of your personal transformation is, who is that I want to be? Yes. And although it's not until that, like you said, I'll be happy, it's really being able to see her already.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do you see her already?
Yes.
I'm telling you, girl, I'm going to be 35 years old. And I was telling my husband, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. I'm going to
Yes.
travel the most. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But like, you have to be able to visualize
Yes.
and believe that what you're seeing is going to be in your life.
Yes, exactly. And I highly believe that, at least in my journey, I've realized that the moments where I felt down the most, or like, because we're going to have setbacks,
We're
obstacles,
humans.
right?
Yeah.
And the moments where I've been at my lowest, that's like the most magical time through my transformation, because I've learned so much about myself. Like, wow, I can't believe I can do that. I can't believe I'm able to achieve that. I can't believe that I was able to overcome that. And that gives me that confidence to say that if I was able to, deal with that, like, man, like, I'm just going to keep going on my journey, and it's going to get better from here. So it's something that you just have to not underestimate your journey, not underestimate the fact that it's going to have its ups and downs. And it is about becoming that version of yourself, and already, like Jerry says, visualizing yourself. Like, who do you want to be? Like, I know that because of this, because of Team Beauty, I was able to learn about thinking ahead, what my future is. I used to not think about it. Like, I would just think about, what am I going to eat next? What am I going to eat in 3 hours? That was like what I would think before I started, because I really didn't really know where I was going in my journey, in my life. So I was able to learn that, and understanding that if you know that you want to be a certain version of yourself, loving the process, being excited about the journey, but also putting that, like, in 5 years, this is what I want to accomplish, and work your butt off every single day, so you'll be able to get there as well.
Yes, love that, Melva. Inside of your transformations, I know you've had many different types of transformations. And so when, you've been at your peak, right, feeling like you've had the best results ever, what was and is the mindset that you take on? I'm sure this 2023, all of us have new goals, right? So what is that personal mindset that you take on in order to execute and dominate your personal plan? Like, what is it that keeps you on track? You're like, this is what it is. And obviously, ultimately receiving the results.
Yes. I would say that getting tired of yourself, of like saying things and not, committing to them. Like, I feel that that's something that I personally am going through right now, that I'm like, like, I need to make sure, because nobody's going to do it for you. You're the one that's going to have to, not only put in the work, whatever type of journey that you're in your life. It's not going to come just because you pray for it. You have to take action too. God's not going to provide like, oh, it's not a genie in the bottle. Like, you have to go out there and look for it. And, whether it's health wise or business wise, it's those daily habits every single day, and not getting too frustrated about looking at the end of the journey, but understanding that the end of the journey is going to be able to happen, but you have to take those small steps every single day. So today, all you have to worry is about today. Today, like, how can I be the best version of me? Not be like her, like the other one, or comparing, or like, why is she winning and I'm not? Like, no, like, how can I become better? And even in that journey, like.
And what would you tell yourself? Like, what was that self-talk when you would ask yourself, like, I'm going to be better today? What was that self-talk? Like, what would Melva tell herself, right? Because, I mean, there's a lot of women listening right now, right? And so it's like, dime la verdad, ¿cómo te hablabas? Like, how would you talk to yourself to get up and get going and, be consistent with that?
Yes. Well, I'm definitely going to say that, like, get your butt off. Because, like, do something, like, we can't, like, when you get into this mindset of, like, the victim mentality of why you're not where you want to be, like, you have to kind of like slap yourself around, and because we could also be our worst enemies. Like, we criticize ourselves, we're like, like, we're in our head too much, but you have the power to change that. So you have to make the decision every single day to determine who's going to win, that best version of you or that enemy in you that's going to tell you you can't do things, and just, getting up with that mindset as in today, like I need to be a step ahead, like not like stay in the same place, because if you don't do that, if you don't get yourself out of there, like nobody's going to be able to do that. So then like I do talk to myself a little bit more like harsh, como que ya, apúrate, or like salte, I'm sorry, Spanglish, but but that's just how my mind works, because if I don't do that, like if I don't really like slap myself around, like I'm not gonna do it. Like I'm just gonna be overthinking, or I'm like, you have to get yourself out of that state, and just use it. Comparison, use it as inspiration, not as something where you get so discouraged that you give up. Like you have the power to be able to determine where you're gonna be at the end of your journey.
Melva, the world needs more women, okay, to rise up, speak out, and truly inspire change, not only in our personal communities, but around the world now more than ever before. And so I want you to share, your voice. I'm giving you the mic, girl, right now. I'm giving you those 5 minutes.
Yes.
Truly, like, what is it that you inspire to be, right? Where obviously before owning your business, where did you used to work? What are those goals and the dreams that you have that you see as a possibility for your personal life? Like in the next 3 to 5 years, who does Melva want to be?
Yes. Well, I am going to speak a little bit about like my goals. There's a difference between a dream and a goal, right? Like you have to go out there and make it possible. So I aspire to be that woman that, like, if another woman is out in the street, like they can look at me and they can smile, that they can feel better. Or like if I'm talking to you, like I want you to feel like I feel so much better about myself, because I feel that, making a difference in the world, like it does start with one thing at a time, one woman at a time. We are women empowering. So I was telling Jerry that, like the other day, like there was this girl that like, she was really like, she was in a waitress. She was in a bad mood. And I just showed up and I was trying to like, look into her face so she could smile, and that wasn't working. And she was just like in a bad mood. And I was like, okay, I need to change it around. And I actually complimented her and I told her, you look so pretty today. And that kind of like just made her like snap out of it. And that if you could see the compliment that I gave her, like I know that it probably changed her whole day, because she lit up, her face, her smile was so big. She's like, oh, thank you so much, And you never know what women out there are living. Maybe she had a fight with the husband, or she was running late, whatever it was, she was in a bad mood. And I feel that a lot of, the culture that it is today, like a lot of people just pass through and we don't really hype each other up. And I feel that should, be more often. And when it comes to me, like I want to be able to achieve that, but also like my goals, like I want to travel, like I want to not only travel, but to be able to travel with a lot of women, that are in the same space and the same attitude and mindset that I am, and to be able to impact as many women. Like I'm talking, big, like I want to impact like cities. I want to impact a whole state if I can, because I know that what we do here is so valuable, and a lot of women out there, they need this. I know that I needed it, and me talking from a space of negativity, a space of, toxic environment, the way I used to think and everything, I didn't know how bad I needed the empowerment.
Awesome, Melva. So last question, what would you tell everybody that's listening here today? How is it that they can pass the mic this week? What are some things that they can do to put this podcast into action and truly start seeing that inside of their life as well?
Well, first thing is what I was telling you about the compliment, like go out there and be intentional. And I know that if you start doing that, if you're giving, you're going to receive something. You know, I highly believe in that. Like, I believe that whatever we think and whatever we give out to the world, it's going to return. You know, it's going to come back to you. And so we got to choose what is it that we're going to give. Even this podcast, like, if you haven't been listening to all these stories of powerful women for the past weeks, like, I'm going to tell you that you're missing out, because you can relate to a lot of the stories, but who knows? Maybe right now, a woman right now is depressed. You know, maybe a woman right now needs to hear something that's going to be able to get them out of that state. And I know that this right here, what you're doing, Jerry, is so powerful. And I know that if we share it more often, you can make a difference in someone's life. Like the way that it did to me, like it changed my life. And look at me. I'm here 6 years later and I'm not going anywhere.
And empowering women in such a positive way. And so we're able to do that together, right?
Yes.
Alongside each and every speaker that has come into our empowerment calls, our podcast, our pink days, our booty Thursdays, our appreciation day. We have Galentine's coming up.
I'm so excited. Y'all gotta be there. It's gonna be awesome.
The month of love is coming, right? And what better love than self-love, right? And so I'm extremely glad that you were able to give your story to us and that you were able to spend time here with us. Everybody else, make sure to reach out to Melva, give her those takeaways, and tag us at Team Video Official. We will see you guys next week.
Thank you so much. Bye.